Hello everybody, Brian here with the Flipping Reality, and the Flipping Reality today is talking about securing your job site with security measures. So I want to show you a few things that we take into consideration. I'll show you a few different houses and just a variety of different things that you can do to make sure that nobody gets in when you're working. You just want to make sure that there's certain indicators that let people know that you're working on your job sites, and there's a lot of eyeballs that are always paying attention. And what you want to do is you just want to make sure it's very difficult for them to get in or steal stuff or whatnot. So let's take a quick look. First thing, simply safe. There we go. There's a sign. They see a sign. So we have that. Second thing, there's the light. You want to light up your house. Now, if you're early in the project, a little bit more difficult to do that. But later in the project, you want this house to look like it's lived in. So I just want to show you a couple of things. Another light here. And then that light is set up, not a timer, but it takes a look when it gets dark and it turns on. The lady across the street over here, she said, hey, the back of your house is really dark at night. Can you just make sure the light's on? So we're like, we can absolutely do that. So we have a light. So there's that. Glass block windows. Not as secure as you would think, which is a little unfortunate. A lot of times when thieves want to get in, what they'll do is they'll rip this out and then they'll poke that little vent through to see if there's a furnace down there. So what you could do, I'll show you on the other side, you could put just something that blocks their view. And we've had people knock these glass blocks out. And so really, if you could just block the view, a piece of wood on the other side, that would do it. Let's keep going. Big thing. We have a security door here. And so security door makes it really freaking difficult to be able to get in. So on this particular house, there's a glass block in the front here. Realistically, they're not getting in through the security door here. There is a security door on the back of this house. There's a security door on the side. Now, you give up appearance. We would love to have a beautiful door on the other side of that, nice and bright, and have the color pop. But you lose that once you have the security door. But your job is safe. Realistically, what somebody's going to do to break into this house, they're going to do one of probably two things. They're going to break the window and go in that way, or we already talked about basement windows. Typically the windows are your entry point if they can't get through the regular doors. That window's up too high, most people aren't going to break in there. Then you have this back porch, so you can't break in here because you got this. We also have these 24-hour surveillance, no trespassing sign, and then we have these blink cameras, which I'll talk more about in a bit. As we come over here, window's too high. This would be a window that they would probably try to break into, but even that's a little bit more challenging. So these windows are nice and high, which is good. Makes it more difficult to break in. Here's another thing. So we have the lock box off of the back door here. It's on the handle. Look at the that we have. Boom, that's our code. And so the code is in there, it's locked in there. If you have a push button, then the code isn't locked in there. So now anybody that walks past, they can see that the code is still there. It happens sometimes. I'm gonna have to change the code now because I wanted to show you guys, but that is the situation there. So, but having a lockbox on a door, if you're gonna put it anywhere, at least put it in the back. Then maybe ideally what you'd wanna do is maybe you put it over here and you just attach it to that. We have a lot of active showings right now, so we're trying to make it easy for the realtor. But really what you wanna do is you don't want to showcase the fact that this house is vacant, for sale, and that nobody's in here. And the ways that you do that is you light it up, you don't put the lockbox right in front, and then you shut everything down window-wise. So you can see we have these blinds open because we just had a showing, but I'll show you. So these are really cheap paper blinds, really inexpensive. We get them on Amazon. This is what it looks like. Now, if I'm trying to break in, I can't see through here. Now here's the nice part. One, it's a security deterrent because now I can look in and see, oh, we have stuff. Is there any indication that somebody lives in here or is it vacant? So one, I can't see through that. But two, those are the blinds that we use. We leave them on. And most people that buy our houses, which aren't cheap houses, they go through and they leave them. So it works. We don't have it on here, but I'm going to show you something. We would normally do a double keyed deadbolt. Once you get to showing, we take those off. But ideally what you would have is you'd have a key here, and then you would have a key here. And the reason why you do that, and you put that on all your exterior doors, so on this house we'd have to have 3 of them. So if somebody does break in through the window, then what happens is they can take whatever they want. The only way they're getting it out is through that window. So if it's a furnace, they got to drag the furnace through the window. Then you got neighbors. So you got people like, what, you're going to be dragging a furnace through the window? That's obviously not right. Nobody wants to do that. So if you have a double key deadbolt, even if I break the window, I can come through here and have a key here. So the idea would be, okay, now I'm inside. I have gotten around the door and here's the window. Now I'm in. And now when I go to leave, I would need a key to be able to undo this. So that's a thing that you can do. We have them on and then we take them off at certain points. We talked about this before. There's two things that you should see right now. One, blink camera. Two, SimpliSafe motion alarm. So both of them will trigger off of motion. I don't pay for the service. You absolutely can. Just call it $50 a month for either of them or each. And then it might be a little bit cheaper. But basically, anytime somebody walks in and I walk in and there's any motion, my phone immediately says blink camera, motion, living room. So I have cameras set up throughout this house to where they're strategically placed to where I can see. So right now there is a person at this house on the main floor. And if I am expecting that person, no big deal. If I'm not expecting that person, I click on the notification. It will go straight to a live view. And if it's bad news, then I can deal with it accordingly, and then it's fine, and you move on. So you can set up the notification, and it's great. This one, SimpliSafe, it has a loud audible alarm. So basically, once you walk in, you can have two different types of triggers. The alarm can go off, and it can give you a 45 or 30-second countdown, of which you would go to the keypad that you would normally leave right there. So you would do that and it would start counting down, and 44, 43. So then you got to go over there and you got to punch in the code. When we're an active construction site, I don't do that. I have it instant trigger. So the second somebody comes in here and you walk, all it does is it's going to go off. It's going to be super loud, and it's attached to this base station, which is falling over. So you have that. But here's the question I get asked a lot. I am at a job site and we're at the end of the project, right? But as soon as you have electrical in your house, how do you handle this? Because you have electrical, but most jobs don't have Wi-Fi. So what do you do? So we get a hotspot through T-Mobile. It used to be $10 a month. I think it's $20 a month now. I think they bumped it. And the reason why it's through T-Mobile is because for this particular neighborhood, this seems to work the best here. So we just get this little T-Mobile hotspot. I think this is $50. I went to a T-Mobile authorized retailer, told them I needed a hotspot. They had a bunch of these. I think they're $50. If you go on Amazon, I think they're like 100. So I think this particular model is the old one. But basically you get a $20 a month subscription. You plug it in as long as you have power, and now we have internet. Now once you have internet, that is gonna send a signal to the SimpliSafe base station. So now my SimpliSafe is gonna work, which is great. And then it's also gonna send a signal. Where do we have it? Over here. It's gonna send a signal to my Blink base station. So both of these are essentially routers or hubs or whatnot. So I've got the Wi-Fi that's over there, broadcasts throughout the house, comes over here, and this is my Blink base station. And then that is what hooks in all of my cameras. So as you saw, I had a camera right there looking at whoever would walk in. So that's one. I had a camera right here seeing who would ever go in that way. And then last, you would think it'd be right here. But more importantly, what we have is down in the basement. I have, where are you? Did it get moved? Nope. Where did it go? Where can my camera be? Hiding from me. That's in here somewhere. Well, oh, there we go. Hidden. Holy shnikes. That was hidden. I was almost super embarrassed because I'm like, I know I have a camera here. So the reason why I have the camera hidden over here, and what I would do is I'd usually put it in the window facing the furnace. This is actually a much better spot because if somebody breaks in over there, they'll knock the camera off. So I have it over here. Now, what happens is if somebody breaks in through this door, they come down the stairs, they're looking hot water tank and they're looking furnace. So realistically, what they're gonna do is they're gonna come this way and look at that. And now my camera will pick up the field of view. The other thing, I don't know if you saw it, got another motion detector right here. So basically, if somebody breaks in here, they come down the stairs, I'm gonna come over here and it's gonna trigger the motion. And then what happens is that audible alarm upstairs on the base station will scream for 8 minutes straight. And really what you wanna do is you wanna come up with a deterrent so people don't have all night at your project to be able to do whatever they want. If there's no deterrent, if there's no alarm, they have all night to disassemble everything that you have in here. So there's that. Let's keep looking. So the audible alarm, we keep it upstairs. I don't know, I go back and forth on this. If it should the base station be down here, which is what transmits the alarm, 50. If it's down here, it's much louder, freaks them out. Probably should. If it's upstairs, most people are gonna enter through the main floor though. And so I like it up there because then it hits people instantly. So that's kind of my choice there. Now this, so I'm probably gonna have to show you a different scenario, so I might have to cut away. But basically now we have hot water tank and furnace. So what we wanna do is a couple of things. One, get serial numbers, I'm doing this. One, get serial numbers of your furnace, get serial numbers of your hot water tank, because if they do get broken into and they do get stolen, then most people that are in that are doing a lot of this stuff. So then it just gets thrown into a garage or a warehouse or somewhere. If the police do get it and there's no indication as to the fact that you own it, then they can't give it back to you. So you need to know what your serial numbers are, or you can, in a permanent marker on the inside of the door of the furnace, you can put your name, your address, you can put some identifying marker to where they would know. How are they ever gonna find it? That's a great question you ask. So with these, we do air tags as a tracking device. I'm moving away from them to a different version of a tracker. Haven't switched yet, but it's coming soon. I need a GPS tracker. They're about the same cost as air tags. When you move them, they make a noise. So the people that are stealing your stuff, once you start moving it, it starts making a noise and it alerts it to them. So that's not good. The GPS trackers, they do two things. See, I got this one right. The first thing that they do is, one, they don't make a noise. Wonderful. Doesn't indicate that, hey, there's a tracker on this. The second thing, and more importantly, it shows the route of where, once they take your item, where they've gone. A lot of times they take it to a garage or a warehouse or somewhere, drop it off, and then once it gets dropped off, somebody else picks it up and takes it to either an end buyer's house or a resale place, and that's what happens. But if you have this stuff, the police will track it down. At least I'm in the city of Detroit. 7th Precinct has been wonderful about this stuff. They're like, if you have air tags or trackers, we will track it down. And we've recovered a bunch of stuff. We busted a ring of people. When they caught the guy, there was 100 stolen hot water tanks. Just massive. All because I had air tags and trackers on. If you go to court, it seems as though judges want video evidence of the thief actually taking stuff. The video gets them on breaking and entering, not just possession of stolen property. So just food for thought there. Another reason why you want cameras. The other reason why you want cameras is you want to know who's doing it. Is it somebody from a construction crew that you're working on? You find out, you got the video, you can show your guys. Does anybody know this? You can find out. I always face it out towards the street. What type of truck is it? Is there a license plate? Can you get an idea? Is it a red truck? A lot of this stuff happens at night. Most of it does. And what happens there is you'll get a little bit of infrared. So it'll be dark, but you'll have white. It's lit up enough to where you can understand who's trying to break in. You might not necessarily get a license plate, but you'll get good enough stuff in the dark, which is nice. And you can set the sensitivity to all of that. For me, what I typically do, there's a few spots that I would put an air tag on. I would either put it in here, or you can pluck that out. You can put it inside of that bag, so when they take it, it still feels like it's new and they wouldn't know that it's in there. And then there's this little door right there, and you can put the air tag in there. You want to make it difficult for them to find. Same thing with furnaces. You would basically just open that, the air tag there, or on this. So now you have it. And then your serial number will be on the inside of that. For your hot water tanks, you see over there. So we do the same thing with AC units. So any outside AC is the last to go in. Those things are $3,000 right now. Wait till the very last second to install them, literally day before. And that is how you protect to make sure that an AC unit doesn't go anywhere. I put air tags on those or trackers. And then if you're really concerned, then you can get a cage that goes around it, and then you bolt that into the ground. You get a cement pad, bolt it to the cement pad, and then you can't get the AC taken. So that's that. And then, like I was saying previously, one of the things you could do is on these basement windows, you could just get a board that comes across here. So if they do pop this open, so now this is popped open, they can see, and they're looking, they're just trying to find out, is there anything in here of value for them to take? So if you put a board here, they can't see anything. So you would do that early on in construction, keep it on until the house is getting ready to get listed. Let's go up here. In the city of Detroit, for their vacant houses that the land bank owns, they use this white plexiglass stuff, not white, clear plexiglass stuff, where you can see through, but you can't get past it. So it's interesting. The other thing that we do, let's keep going. The other thing we do is air tags on stove. And if we have a fridge, we would have an air tag on the fridge. Let's see if I have one in here. Yep, sure do. It's in the back there. So tape down there. So now if the stove goes away, then that can be trackable as well. Dishwasher, you gotta uninstall. That's a pain in the butt. And then microwave, same type of thing. So the last thing worth mentioning is, sit tight 1 second here. I got a radio and I got a light. Let me see if I can do this. I'll probably have to edit it 1 sec. So basically what happens is I have these into this smart plug. These smart plugs were super cheap, not expensive at all. And I have it turn on at a certain hour of the day, usually 6 o'clock, 6 p.m. because it's dark now, it's wintertime, and I keep it going until a.m. You can randomize it. It can turn on for an hour, a few times a night. It can randomly turn on, so you have a pattern interrupt. But basically what's gonna happen is those lights will go on and the radio will start to play. Now, in this area, I don't have a neighbor over here, which is why I have the radio there. I have it very loud, almost as loud as it can go. And really the goal is, if I am somebody that is up to no good, I come up to this door, I can hear a radio, I can see a light. If I come over here, I'm kind of poking around, these blinds will be down so you can't see. So you'll just see there's a light on, you can hear a radio. It just gives an indicator of that somebody's here, and then you can hear it if you're along the side here. So there's that. I'm gonna try to turn that on in a second just so you can see it, hear it. The other thing worth mentioning, this house doesn't have a driveway. If it did, leaving a car in the driveway, I don't know if you have an extra car. I'm not saying that I do not, but leaving an extra car in the driveway is one more thing that gives people that are doing stuff that they shouldn't be doing, it makes them hesitate, makes them question, is somebody here? So now I walk up to this house, there's a car in the driveway, I see lights on, I hear audio. Is it a radio? Is it a TV? Is it a person? I hear all that stuff. Now I'm questioning, should I be here? I see the Simply Safe. I have security doors all around. It starts to become not an easy thing to do. And then you got a determined person. Let's say they want to break in. Now you break in, now the audible alarm is going and it's very loud. So that's going. So now they know they don't have any time to be there. So then they scooch. The reality is that people that are breaking into these jobs, they are doing it because it's easy. They see second of dumpsters in front of the house. They know. They see material being thrown out, which I don't have a good example of that. A lot of job sites, you'll have material that will get left on the curb, waiting for the dumpster or waiting for the weekly trash pickup. So the second they see, or they see trucks like mine parked in front of the house, and then there's a bunch of them because a lot of people work on these houses and they notice that there's activity. So now you're starting to notice activity, you're starting to see dumpsters, you see stuff getting thrown away, and oh my God, never leave a furnace or hot water tank box outside. That tells you instantly what's going on. Fridge, any type of appliance boxes, do not leave those outside. Break them down if you can. If they get delivered, have the delivery company break them down and take them. If you can't, break them down, smush them, get them into the dumpster, or at the very least, take them with you to your house or a different dumpster. Just get it away from the house that you're working on, because you just don't want eyeball looking at this stuff. And I know this is a pretty long video, actually pretty much longer than I thought it was going to be. And I probably sound like a crazy person, but you have to do deterrent stuff because one break-in, furnace, $3,000, hot water tank, $1,500, AC unit, $3,000, fridge, $1,500, $2,000. Not to mention, I got to fix the door, I got to fix the window, so I got to fix, and it happens. This is a part of the business. You have to budget for break-ins and stuff like this. But the demoralization that happens when you constantly get broken into and people are breaking into your job sites, that starts to get really bad. I have a pretty great disposition when it comes to this stuff. I can deal with that type of thing, that gut punch. I deal with it really well. Most people can't, and most people feel it deeply. It's a very deep feeling to have somebody break into your house and steal your stuff that you paid for. It sucks and it hurts, and you just don't want that. So spend some money. Here's the reality. SimpliSafe system, $200. Blink cameras, $200. The Wi-Fi hotspot, $50 to $100, $20 a month. You need the blinds anyway. You need them anyway, so get those. They're not expensive at all. And so you have that. Double-sided deadbolts. You can keep them on if you want. I take them off and we just move them to the next house, but those aren't expensive. So all being said, you're under $1,000. Most of the stuff you can move from house to house. So if you're only doing one house at a time, you just keep it with you and you take it to the next house and you move it. Compared to you have a break-in almost is guaranteed going to cost you $5,000. And so if you have multiple houses going at once, 3, 4, 5 of them, so you spend $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 to have the safety of this, and then you just keep moving it along, and it makes it really difficult. If somebody wants to get in, they will get in 1,000%. You can't completely deter them. We had a situation on a frame house where they cut a square into the side of the wall and slid through into the living room. So people will do that stuff. It's nuts, but they will do that. But if you have an audible alarm, then you're good there. One thing worth mentioning, if you don't have any power, if you're doing a job that's fully down to the studs, then you really want to make it very difficult for all entry points. You're down to the studs. You only need one door to come into. Pick the hardest door. So ideally it's the front door, because most people, you don't want to be beating down a front door because everybody around you can see. The other doors, the back door, board across, zip it shut so you cannot get in or out through the back door. Windows, if you're down to the studs, do your best to cover them up. Plywood, maybe these blinds, cover them up. You just don't want people peeking in here. Get light here as fast as humanly possible. And so do what you can to get light on, or power rather. Once you have power, then you can light it up. Once you can light it up, then it makes your life easier. And then there was one more thing. Oh, indicators. We're also looking for indicators of how do I know there's a furnace in this house? And I wish I had a great example right now. I can only show you my example, which is too bad. But here is a great example. You want to know if there's a furnace on, or there's a furnace in the house, compared to it's a vacant house. Here's how you know. Gas meter, right there, just a gas meter. If there's a gas meter, that means the house has gas. That means it's going to something. 99% of the time, there's going to be a furnace in there. So you don't have to be Harvard educated to be doing this. I'm over here. I'm at night. I'm walking. I see a house that's got a dumpster here. I look over. There's a gas meter. Oh, gas meter. Let's do this. Let's poke this open. Let's see. Oh, there's a furnace in there. And the next thing, I'm kicking that block out or hit it with a hammer, and you get that out. You slide through. You undo the furnace, you come upstairs, there's no double key deadbolts, you walk right out, it does not take long, and then me as the homeowner comes up here all happy. And this happened at one point to a lot of the houses. That's why we know all this stuff and we know how to defend it now. But you walk to the house, you're coming here, you look, and I saw this vent right there. It was just open. I don't leave them open because you can see what's in there. So then you see that open, and instantly, this is what your face looks like. You go from the truck coming over here, it's gonna be a good day. God. And then instantly you know that something probably has gone sideways. And then you either come over here and you look at your door and it's open, or more than likely, you come over here to your side door, and then this side door is magically unlocked. That door is open, and they went down into the basement, grabbed your stuff, opened the door, walked out because there's no alarm, took it to their truck and loaded it up, and they're gone. Half hour, not even. That's why you need the audible alarms. That's why you need the lights. That's why you need all these little deterrents, just to be able to, now if I'm a person that is walking past here, let's do this again. I walk past, I see a dumpster. Well, there's a gas meter, but that's a Simply Safe thing. So I see that, double key security door, double key deadbolt. I'm starting to see, I go and I poke that open and there's a piece of wood there. Now it's more challenging. I go up there and there is blinds, so I can't see on either side. And then I'm like midnight, 2 in the morning, 4 in the morning. A lot of this stuff happens at 4 in the morning. I go up here and now I hear the radio, the lights on. Again, it's just deterrent. It's just normal stuff. If you're a normal person walking past a house and you see all these things and hear all these things, you feel like there's somebody in there. You're not going to go in there. Same thing with people that are trying to steal stuff. They are looking for low-hanging fruit. So you just want to make this high-hanging fruit. If they're going to break in, they're going to steal stuff, but you just want to make it difficult for them. And then the second the Simply Safe alarm goes off, it triggers an audible alarm on my phone, really loud. I hear it at any hour of the night. And the second that happens, I have it set up towards the address of the property, so I know. And then I check my cameras, see that there's nonsense going on, call the police immediately. They're very responsive. So anyhow, super long. I was not expecting to go this long on this security demo, but that is what I would do. You get your T-Mobile hotspot or a hotspot through your cell provider, get your Simply Safe, get your Blink. You can do it all as one. We piecemealed it. So Blink for cameras, Simply Safe for the audible alarm, and then at least protect yourself that much so you can see who's coming in and out of your projects. The audible alarm goes off. They don't have all day to be able to do this stuff. And that's what I got. So that is it today for the Flipping Reality. And I don't know if you know this, we've been broken into a bunch and we've had to learn the hard way, but let my Flipping Reality help your Flipping Reality to be a little bit better. So that's all I have for you today. Have an awesome day. See ya.